Hey drummers, hope you're doing well. Right, practicing your drums when you're not at your drums. Shout out to everybody who asked this, got asked this again today. My kit's in storage for a bit. My house is being remodeled. My studio's out of action. So the first thing to say is there's always times when this happens, but ultimately you do need to be playing on a drum kit regularly. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to dress it up. If you can't get to a drum kit and play regularly each day, most days, to build up your skill, playing along with music, doing the things you need to do to build your skills on a drum kit, it's probably not going to work. But having said that, if there is a period of time when you're away from your kit, not only is there loads of things you can do, you might find, as long as it's not for too long and it doesn't happen to you regularly, you might find that you have your most productive week or months that you've had in a very long time. The reason for that is the drums are too much fun. We all know this, right? Because you go to your practice room, you sit down, right, I've got half an hour to practice. What do we end up doing a lot of the time? We end up having fun. Drums are awesome fun, right? You put on music, you bash along a bit. Great, awesome. If you're happy with that and you're enjoying yourself, brilliant. That's the end of the story. I'm not knocking that for a second. But if your aim is to really improve your skill, man, you've got to do some skill building activities. And the drums, if you're disciplined, can be great for that. I'm not the best way of doing that. But like most people, certainly me, we get seduced into just bashing along with music. Again, it's fun, and I'm not knocking having fun, that's great. But if our aim is to improve, we've got to be more focused and more disciplined than that. On a practice pad, right? There's nothing special about practice pads, but you can do this on a pillow, on a cushion, on a book, on a windowsill. Do it in thin air, turn your sticks around and play in this fashion on the underside of your arms. But you've got to do some basic skill building, right? All the time, every day, people message me or they come into the studio and they say, I want to play Everlong. I want to play this song, I want to play the big fills in this. Somebody wanted to play Hollywood Nights, Bob Seger the other day. Somebody wanted to play Rio Duran Duran today. All these things are brilliant aims. And 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, what it comes down to over and over again is nothing fancy, nothing complicated. It's the basics. It's a single stroke roll, right? So on your practice pad, on your pillow, on your book, on your cushion, doesn't matter, nothing special about practice pads. You don't need to buy a fancy practice pad. Single stroke roll. 2 ways to practice it. 1, steady tempo, right? Put some music on, put a metronome on, nice and easy. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Nice and steady, tips of the sticks bouncing back like basketballs. Lovely. You can still change the tempo at which you're playing, go faster, go slower. Do it with a metronome, like I say, do it to music. But the point is when you're playing, go steady, at a steady tempo, and then also slow to fast to slow. This is the second way to do it. As the name suggests, nice and slow, little bit by little bit, we start picking up speed. By fast, what we mean is that beautiful improvement zone, the zone at which you feel something you've got to hear, you feel like, all right, I'm still doing it, but it's a little bit of a challenge. I'm kind of 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10 tension, no more than that. Hold it there for about 30 seconds or so, and then bring it back down. And if you just do single strokes and double strokes, or single strokes, double strokes, paradiddles, be consistent, practice steady tempo and slow to fast to slow, you'll build those skills. The answer to the questions, every time someone comes in or they message and say, oh, I'm struggling with this, I can't play this song, I don't know why, the answers are almost always the most basic, simple things. It's just physical, basic things done well. Get your technique sorted, make sure you're on the right track there, but then it's just drilling. You've just got to do it. Steady tempo and slow to fast to slow. So basic rudiments. How about something to do with playing on the hi-hat or the ride? I would say when people are learning songs, the variable that holds them back more than anything else is that ability to play consistently on the hi-hat or the ride cymbal when things get a bit faster. So it's your molar style whip, 1 and 2. So this is your right stick on the hi-hat, 1 and, you guessed it, steady tempo, slow to fast. Again, you've got to get your technique down first, up to wherever your current top speed is. Back down to slow again. Take longer over this than I'm doing here. I'm trying to get through this in a quick video. But just the same story, slow to fast to slow. I've got videos about all these things. I'll link to you below if you need. Finger control, using your fingers at the back of the stick. This is like the other end of the scale. So whereas the molar whip on a hi-hat gives you a nice accent, doesn't it? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Like a shaft on the shaft of the stick on the edge of the hi-hat on the way down on the beat. Tip of the stick on the top on the way up on the and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the finger control more likely to be on top of the hi-hat, doesn't have to be. That gives you a much more even sound. I'll just drill both of those. Make sure your lead hand in particular, well, ideally both hands, but your lead hand in particular is ready to do that, because when you're going to want to play along with that fast song, you're going to need to be fast and smooth. As I said before on this channel and did a video about recently, I actually end up a lot of the time when I'm personally playing on a hi-hat or a ride cymbal, using a little technique which is sort of between those two. It's got an element of a molar style whip to it, but also an element of finger control underneath. I end up sort of here. Great, practice that, but get your right stick or your lead stick, the stick that plays on the hi-hat that is, get that to a point. This is something you can be doing away from the kit. Get that to a point where you can rely on it, because it's, again, you get back to the kit, it's not going to magically suddenly work because you're sitting in a drum kit. You need to build that, cultivate it, nurture it, chisel it out of stone. You need to be playing each day. I think people think drums is magic, or like if you understand the technique then you can do it. No, understanding the technique is the end of the beginning, then the work starts. You actually got to build it and play each day. The last thing I'd say, the third thing would be actually engage with your material. People drive to my studio in Cambridgeshire and it takes them hours, right? And they'll turn up and they'll say, oh, I want to look at this song. This is just an example. It doesn't have to be drum grades, but often it is. I want to look at this song. And not always, but very often the thing is, it's not that there's no reason they're struggling with it, except they haven't really engaged with it. They haven't listened to it, or they haven't done that thing of like sticking the video on or the audio on and like gone through with the part and kind of read through it and kind of worked out. Like, you've got to do some mental work here. You've got to sit with it and like be deliberate and be, like think carefully about, okay, why is this bit that sounds like this, why is it written like this, and kind of reason things out. So, okay, I can hear what that bit's going there. And sure, like, I'm not saying it'll all make perfect sense straight away, but yeah, figure out as much as you can. And if you're a channel member, then some people do this. Email me, ask me questions. I'll do this. I'll give you a video response back. I'll write you back. Like, sit with it. Like, so it's interesting how many people turn up at my studio and they haven't. It's not that there's nothing wrong with them. They're not struggling. They just haven't engaged with it. I said, well, have you listened to it? They are. No, I haven't actually downloaded the audio for it, or they haven't. Oh, I haven't looked at it in the book yet. No, I must admit, I haven't looked at it. Just basic stuff. You don't need to drive for hours to my studio. You need to sit at home with the music on, follow it. I've recorded videos for almost every song in all the grade syllabuses, so you can watch that if that helps. Sit with the chart, just work out, like, get your head around it. Because if you can't understand it when you're not playing, it's not going to magically work when you are playing. So 3 big things. There are millions of things you can do when you're not in the kit, but 3 big ones. And if you do these, I think for a lot of drummers, you actually end up having a more productive time if it's a short period of time than you would if you're actually at the kit. Number 1, your drum rudiments. Make sure your technique's good, steady tempo and slow to fast to slow. Even if you're just doing the basics, put your hands in a position where they're actually going to support you and you can trust them to do the things you need them to do. If you can't play a single stroke roll fast and consistent, forget playing Everlong. It's pointless. Like, that's the physical skill. That's a start point for playing tunes like that, or whatever other fast song you want to play. Like, you've got to do it. You've got to build it up, man. So that's the first thing. Drum rudiments. Even if it's just singles, doubles, that's fine, but just build the physical skill. The second thing is make sure your hi-hat, ride cymbal hand, is going to work fast enough to be consistent for you. You don't need to be on a kit to do that a lot of the time. On a practice pad, on a pillow, on a cushion, on the arm of a chair. Nothing special about practice pads. You certainly don't need a fancy one. Molar whip, finger control. I like the little technique somewhere in between. Build that up so you've got that reliable. Put the music on that you want to play and get that right stick or lead stick fizzing along with it. Make sure you can do it. Even if it's just little short bursts at first. Again, steady tempo and slow to fast to slow. Build the thing up so it'll actually work for you. You don't get to just do it. You have to build the skill. And then thirdly, engage with the music. It sounds daft. I think I'm in the territory of like, duh, here, but like, it's amazing people who just don't do it. People drive for miles, for hours to come to my studio. They say, can we look at this? And I go, yeah, cool. But where are you currently at with it? And they say, well, have you listened to it? And they go, no, I haven't really listened to it. No, man, just engage with it. Listen to the music, follow it, get your head around it. If you're confused, that's fine. If you're a channel member, email me, I'll help you out with it. Or make a note of the bits you're confused about. We'll go over it in your session. But just spend time. And again, I think this comes back to the drums being too much fun. I think what we do is we just put music on and we just sort of start bashing along with it. And that can be great if you're trying to be specific, you're trying to learn stuff. You need a bit of a deeper level of engagement than that. Sit with the music, work it out. So there's 3 great things for you to be cracking on with if your kit is out of action or you can't get to your drum kit. I'm not having it, man. Like, on behalf of whoever your drum teacher is, just out of love and respect for them, Don't turn up to your session and say, oh, I couldn't do any practice because my kit wasn't there. I'm not having it, man. I'm not having it. Do your rudiments, work on your hi-hat, right cymbal hand, and engage and get your head around the music that you're learning, so then when you're back to the kit, you'll be ready to go. Rock on. See you soon.